That's a Norwegian thing, and it's also easy socially. It's always good on tour to get to know new people, but from time to time, it's really cool to be just a bunch of Norwegians hanging out.
You don't have to, switch back and forth and, try to translate things for people, so
Exactly.
it's easier. So, really no word can truly describe, as far as the progression that you guys have gone through. And it's just really nice to see that you guys can always deliver time after time, so it's pretty awesome.
Nice, yeah.
No, thank you. And speaking of the new album and everything, Exomia Ethica Odini is quite an epic for you guys, so it's really nice to see that it charted just as well too here in the States. So
yeah, it's good for every album that we've done since we started getting proper distribution with the Ice album back in 2004. There's been a steady rise in the States, which is cool, both on sales-wise, the charts, as you say, and also with the live performances. There's more people coming, and it's really cool.
That's very cool. Now, as far as you guys are doing songs from side A,
yeah.
From which I think is kind of cool because it's nice and old school.
Yeah.
How it seems like the crowd was actually really into the new material. So has it been that way for the entire tour?
Absolutely, and we can see it, or maybe no, we're imagining it because we have such a strong confidence in the songs. But we're seeing almost by day, and I think because more and more people are getting into the album, and they're getting more time to listen to it. So already when we started the tour in Europe in September, we were getting good reactions then. But now we were shocked to see people singing along in quite a few of the cities with especially the Beacon, that song, which is...
That's a hell of a song, actually, so... If you're going to learn one, I guess that's one to definitely learn. In between that and Giants.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. The vocals seem to, I guess, have a lot more room for Brent to, show his chops on this one. And it's really nice to see that between he and Grutle. It's like it's actually like it works and it just flows.
Very much so. I think...
So is that like a conscious thing that you guys have tried to do?
Maybe I think it's influenced me as a songwriter that they keep doing these vocal arrangements are getting more and more, they're bigger and they're contrasting each other, and they're doing so many interesting things that I think I'm a little bit consciously, but most of the time I guess it's unconscious, that I'm trying to leave more room for them. I'm trying to take a little bit step back as a guitarist and sort of paint something a little bit more open, some soundscapes that they can add their things to. As maybe older Enslaved, it would be harder to do vocal arrangements because there's so many guitar things going up front. So definitely, I think I'm being influenced by the way that they're just the way they're working, and I think it's going the other way too, because they're noticing that in the music that it's open space for them.
Which is very nice, actually. And it seems like, I guess, that as far as the sound is concerned, it's a lot like, more icy, it's cold, but it's almost back to like modern days.
Yeah, it is.
Which is, it's nice, and like you brought back the metallic, yet, kept the melodic, so.
I even get a little sense of the very first albums when listening to the production this time. That's what we went for, trying to recreate maybe a little bit more of the live sound, which is, I guess, more metal than the recordings that we have lately.
Definitely. So it's nice that you encapsulated all of it.
Yeah.
Lyrically speaking, since you guys delved a lot, I guess, deeper into the human experience, with more like, I guess, on kind of a skeletal issue with vertebrae, I noticed that you guys said that it has a lot to do with like holistic as far as the new album is concerned. So if you can kind of define, I guess, holistic, because everybody kind of has a different idea about what that means. So what does that mean to you, and in reference to the album?
In reference to the album, I think there's not really a concept album in that sense. It's not a storyline or anything like that. It's more thematic, and I would say that the thing that's sort of gluing it all together, because as you're saying, there's so many different scales. There's a universal scale, there's the natural laws, there's the human-made laws, and all that. And I guess the word ethics is, it's in the title, and that's, for me, that's what binds it together.
Okay.
it's sort of, maybe it's overreaching or taking it a bit too far to start mixing in ethics in the universal scale and talk about that. But it's quite. This is a pretty big issue that we've.
I mean, it's been a kind of a recurring theme throughout.
Yes, it is, definitely.
So it's kind of nice, I guess, that you're kind of attacking it, again, yet at a kind of a, different standpoint. So, so the song War Room.
Yeah.
I heard that it was rather difficult for you guys to, kind of get it together in the beginning. So it's really nice to see that you panned it out and didn't can it or anything. It's a great song.
Yeah, that was the feeling we had when we started working on it. But we really. That was one of the songs that we had to. The song didn't work. We couldn't make it properly in the pre-production studio. We really had to go back to the rehearsal room and just be, us 5 guys playing it over and over and over again in different versions.
Wow.
2 seconds. Thank you, Letta.
I will.
Yeah. Anytime.
Now, as far as you guys using Jens and Chris sounds, it's actually nice that they, maintain the grit sound, but it's nice, cleaned up. So, was that something that you were kind of concerned with, that you wanted to kind of maintain that core sound and have it be very meaty, as opposed to being very clinical?
Yeah, it's. I think we were very lucky to be a band that we have. Even I would say that you could record Enslaved in any way, and it would still sound a bit like Enslaved, because there's so much in our self-developed style. That to begin with, maybe that was a negative thing, that we were totally unschooled whatsoever. We taught ourselves everything. But over the years, it's become an advantage, because the signature sound is always there. But it was really important for us to, again, coming back to the key word of the live sound, to have that on the album, because it's so easy these days to get lost in the opportunities in the studio. That's with true. All the high-tech stuff and the brilliant engineers that can, take any song and clean it up with all their tools and fixing it. So yeah.
But it's nice to actually, be able to keep it the way that it is,
exactly.
The way it was kind of intended to be. I actually love the story behind Giants as well. As far as lyrically dealing with, I guess, Norse mythology, but feminine energy, etc. So can you kind of I guess, explain that a little more?
I can take my perspective.
Okay.
It's one of Gritler's lyrics, and I would say, whereas my lyrics very often deal with runes and sort of like my little pseudo psychology thing, which I don't really know anything about, scientifically, but I'm very interested in it. Who cares? Then Gritler is definitely dealing with, I think very many of his lyrics are up to the subjects of the giants, the chaotic forces, and sort of the eternal quest to sort of get something constructive out of it, because there's so much potential energy in chaos, and it's very destructive if you're controlled by it in the sense, but if you can tap into that and sort of redirect the energy and sort of ride that those chaotic waves, it's really powerful, and it's about recognizing those sides of yourself, knowing when to utilize your masculine and utilize your feminine forces.
It's all about balance.
Yeah, definitely, and it's so much more than just when you say masculine and feminine. When you say utilize your feminine sides, doesn't mean that you have to go and put on some nice makeup and drink tea out of big cups and
with your finger.
Yeah, exactly.
Extend it.
This just on a much bigger scale,
Thank you. The fan video contest turned out to be quite a really cool thing.
Yeah.
And did you guys get a lot of submissions? I mean, it had to have been kind of crazy trying to sift through all of it. So how did you kind of attack that?
We did get quite a lot, but it wasn't a problem at all, because it was so interesting.
Okay.
First of all, we were just hoping that anybody would send something in, because it was quite a task. The song is 8 minutes or something with the intro.
How many did you get, approximately?
Really full-on finished videos that the record label said was 20 something,
Oh,
which is a really high
wow.
number.
That is.
And on
actually.
top of that, I guess there was a few things that were, I'm not sure they were real attempts or
Okay.
for somebody doing something at a party after hours or whatever. But there was so many different versions, like seeing, at least from this, where you got a feeling that they had been reading the lyrics.
And more fans, more
Yeah.
actual fans, yeah.
It was really interesting, and it was a way to get to know some of those fans more closely. Really cool.
That's really cool. Now, which song is going to be the next video release? Or have you decided yet?
We haven't really decided, but
Okay.
if I'm gonna guess either the Giants or the Lightning.
Nice, nice. Now, speaking of visuals, Truls, really outdid himself with this one. It's really kind of nice that you guys have the kind of relationship that you do, that you can just, pretty much bounce things off of one another, and it just comes alive. So, having said that, since you guys had traveled to his studio in Stavanger, is it, kind of better for you to do it that way, so he can kind of get more of a feel, you can have kind of a meeting of the minds?
Yeah, the actual performance or the painting has to be done by him and only him, like in isolation. We could never be there, like watch him work or anything. He, as he says, he's like the classical, the cliche of the crazy painter. He likes to have loud music and scream and throw stuff around, I guess, but really to get in touch with his
Whatever
artistic
actually
side.
makes him,
Yeah.
have tap into that creative force.
But the actual planning before the meeting we have, that's quite opposite. It's quite civilized. It's me and him, just sitting down and discussing the different lyrics, listening to some tracks maybe, and just having a full day of going through the different thoughts and ideas that we have for the album. And what he'll do is he'll make these small sketches while we're sitting there talking, and when we see something that sort of resonates with us, we'll immediately say, okay, that says something. If it's the figure, it's the circle, if there's a certain color that makes me react,
Okay.
we'll just say, okay, continue, do something with that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what is the future kind of like, I guess, the next 6 to 12 months hold for? It's like right now.
The future is, we're doing this until December 15th, and then we're heading off to India for 3 days.
That's your first time?
Second time.
Okay.
We played there in 2007 also.
Wow.
And then we're going to have a few months off and start touring Europe again, all over again.
Summer festivals?
Summer festivals, and I'm guessing we'll be back in the States to do some headlining next fall.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome.
So the circle continues.
Yes, it does. And thank you very much. Talk.
Tack,